Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm ready to go walking. We've come back from group and as per usual in Nottingham on a Saturday morning it's raining. Well, it's just about stopped I think, hasn't it, Joe? And we need to go walking, so you've got me in my walking gear today. I'm in my jogging bottoms and my thermal top, ready to go out and face the cold. Lovely group this morning, a really lovely group. It's just getting more and more positive and more friendly. And this morning my alarm went off at 5:30 because we had to go and pick a friend up at 7:30 to take her into hospital. And so I feel like I've been up half the night. I'm not used to getting up at 5:30 in the morning. And it's been, well, it seemed like quite a long day. And I did say to Joe in passing, I'll just pop into group and get weighed. And kind of was thinking about not staying to group. But then when I thought about it on reflection, I realised that if I don't stay to group, I don't get a good dose of motivation for the following week. And so I did decide, you know, after Joe had driven 20 miles to take a friend into hospital and 20 miles back again, and then took me all the way to group to come home to have to come back for me. Bless him, he did. And I was really glad I stayed to group because it was a very positive place to be. I'm always mindful of what Naomi says. When you're having a good week, your group needs you. When you're having a bad week, you need your group. Well, I would say this week I had quite an ordinary week. I stuck to plan because, as I've said before, it's my lifestyle now. It's the way I choose to live. And I think there was a little bit of me this week that was blurring the edges. It started on Monday really, when I decided to have another Slimming World lasagna for my lunch, and I have to question myself and say, what am I doing? Because generally I don't eat white pasta. So why am I craving Slimming World beef lasagna? It's not that good. But I had one for my lunch on Monday, and then I usually am quite low in carbs. That's the way I like to eat, because I don't get bloated. And anyway, on Monday I had the lasagna, and then Joe had these purple potatoes, which were called Arran Victory. Arran Victory.
Yes.
And there were 6 of them left after he'd had out of them what he wanted, and they were sizable potatoes. They weren't like little, I'm not going to kid you, they weren't little potatoes.
I had 4 for a portion.
He had 4 and there were 6 left.
Yeah.
And what was it, a
They were a good
600
size.
gram bag, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So each potato would have been about 80, 100 grams. Well, in my wisdom, he was at work, and in my wisdom I thought, I'll steam those 6 potatoes. I'll have a couple with my lunch, and then I love cold potatoes. So my intention was, well, I can have one later and I might snack on the others tomorrow, you know. Like you think, but your mind's actually thinking something else. And what did I do? I steamed all 6 and I ate all 6. And oh my God, did I pay for it? Because by the time Joe came home that evening and he'd had his dinner and I'd had my tea, because we don't have the same meals, but by the time, excuse me, I've got an itchy nose. By the time we'd done all that and it was time to go out walking, I literally couldn't walk, could I, Joe?
No.
I was so...
It was so funny.
We got to the end of the road here, we turned round the block and we do like a 1,000-step loop. And it must have taken me 25 minutes to do one loop, which usually takes about 8 or 9 minutes. And oh my God, I was like this. I can't move, I can't walk. Let me just stand for a minute. I can't move. And my legs wouldn't go. And I was thinking, what on earth's wrong with me? And I was like, Joe, I can't move my legs. I thought there was something seriously wrong with me, and after one loop, Joe brought me home, dumped me here and went off on his own.
Hang on, you put that bit.
Well, I kind of...
Yeah, you wanted to come home. You were like, oh, take me to bed. I didn't just dump you.
I had to come
You
home.
made me out to be the bad guy.
Well, it makes me out to be bad otherwise. What we like. I had to come home. I could not walk. Now, whether
In fact,
that was...
I even offered to stay out with you and do the 5 with you at that
it took us
pace.
about 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
didn't
exactly.
it?
But anyway, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, anyway, so I ended up having to come home and I literally went to bed. When I laid in bed, I didn't know whether to lie on my side, my back. I couldn't lie on my stomach, which is how I would usually sleep. And I was awake nearly all night. And what on earth was that about? And all I can say is my body is not used to having that amount of carbohydrate in one go, and it just couldn't digest it. And I felt like I'd got some sort of bowling ball stuck just here, and it wouldn't move. Well, cut a long story short, I made myself really ill on Monday. But doesn't it sound stupid that somebody can eat white pasta and then about 600 grams of white or purple potatoes, as they were, and make themselves feel like that? But that kind of set my week off, and I felt like my digestion's been sore all week, and I felt a bit sorry for myself all week. I did have cortado one day, didn't I? Can't remember what day we were in town. Thursday. And I had another one yesterday. So that's another 11 sins. I had my normal 4.5 healthy extras, 15 sins a day. But I had 5.5 sins extra on Thursday, 5.5 sins extra on, 8.5 sins extra on Friday, because Joe was cooking falafels. And oh God, did they smell good. So I said, can I have one? And he'd worked out the sin count on them anyway. He'll probably show them you now, will you?
Yeah, I'll pop it in front of the camera.
Yeah. These are called what?
Good Life.
Good Life falafels, and they're free from, I think, aren't they? There's no...
Yeah, they're free from, they're gluten-free, and they haven't got any, funny...
dairy or anything like that.
Yeah, any main allergens.
And these are the nicest falafels I've had in a long time that have been kind of good for plan, because there's 14 in the box and they're 1 sin each.
Would you like me to read the ingredients?
Would you read the ingredients?
Chickpea, onion, rapeseed oil, parsley, salt, cumin powder, coriander powder, lemon juice, black pepper and chilli powder.
We found them in the freezer at Sainsbury's. I can't remember how much they were. I haven't got a clue. But if you like falafels and you don't want to make your own, because sometimes they're good and sometimes they're not so good if you make your own, those are really nice. And for 1 sin each, they're worth it. So I said to Joe, can I have one? Because there's 14 in the box. And he goes, oh, you're okay. You can have 3. I don't need more than 11. Well, the greedy part of me said yes. The proper part of me should have said I only need 1, but I ate 3. So that was another 3 sins. So 5.5 sins over Thursday, 8.5 sins over Friday, on top of my 15 a day. And I went to group this morning, did I deserve to lose weight? No, I didn't. So last week, maintain. This week, lost £1. I'm still at a loss. All I can do is stick to plan. I know that, and I love that. And I can go to group on a Saturday and think, yeah, I'll get the loss I did, not that, I'll get the result I deserve, and I deserve a gain this week. And I get a loss. And I'm not complaining, because I'm learning through this whole process that all I need to do and all I should be doing is sticking to plan. Now, part of my head goes, if I hadn't had that 14 extra sins over the week, and if I hadn't eaten all those carbs on Monday, would I have lost more? Would I have gained? Would I have maintained?
The thing is, as well, that I'm finding, in my life, is that if you have a plan and stick to the plan, it offloads the stress. Because if you just stuck to plan 15 sins a day, 2.5 whatever healthy extras, you wouldn't have these thoughts about, oh, would I have lost more weight, or you wouldn't have worried. Yeah, you wouldn't have worried through the week about.
Because last night when I went to bed, I was thinking, I've had 8.5 sins today on top of my 15. I shouldn't be doing that. So I'm lying there thinking, I deserve a gain. I've done everything to get a gain. And I get a loss. There's no explaining that. It can work one way, it can work the other way. There is no explaining it. But I don't like those feelings of guilt. I don't like lying in bed at night thinking I've had 8.5 sins more than I should have done. So Joe's right, if you have got a plan and you stick to it, it does alleviate all the crap that can go on in your head.
Yeah, because the mental part's half the battle, isn't it?
I think the mental part's 80% of the battle with me, because I'm total nut when it comes to food.
Yeah, so it's better to just trust in the plan, offload your stress and just follow it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do this week. So this week it is going to be 4.5 healthy. I don't know, part of me is saying, should I go to 3 healthy extra A's? Because I don't need to keep losing weight, do I? I mean, today I'm 8 stone 9.5. I want to be about 8 stone 11. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to do it. It's not a risk. This week I am going to have 3 healthy extra A's 2 healthy extra Bs and 15 sins. And let's see where that takes me for next Saturday. And if I do that, I'm trusting the plan. I've made a decision and that's a plan I'm going to trust in. Walked 44.
Oh, we've also got another product.
Oh yeah, let me just say I've walked 44.24 miles this week, so my walking's been just average. Average for me, the normal amount I would walk. So nothing about my weight loss is dependent on my walking. We were in group this morning and Naomi mentioned a product that she always keeps in. I think she, like me, she would keep it in the fridge because I keep things like this in the fridge. When she wants to do anything with a quick pizza topping, she relies on this. Can you just show it, Joe?
Yes.
And it's Asda's Good For You.
No, that's Sainsbury's range, I think. It's Be Good To Yourself, isn't it?
Be Good To Yourself.
This is Asda's Premium Lean Ham in a tin.
And it's £1 for a tin.
Yep.
And it's free on plan. So Naomi always keeps some of this in her. Well, I'm going to keep it in the fridge because I like meats when they're cold, and I keep my corned beef in the fridge because it slices easier, and also the can opens easier if it's cold. For things like pizza toppings, cubing up, throwing into pasta and stuff like that, it's quick and it's easy, and that's what Naomi does with it. And if it's good enough for her, it's certainly good enough for me because I aspire to be like her. She's amazing. Yeah, so Joe's just picked some of that up in Asda. She said it was on offer at £1 a can, but you said it just said £1 a can, didn't it?
Yeah, it just said £1 a can and it wasn't like on rollback or anything.
Yeah, so that's a good value to have in the house. So, group this morning, one of the topics that came up just during image therapy was water and drinking water. I've talked about this before and told you that I don't drink water as water, I drink coffee. And they very, very occasionally have a bottle of the Smart Fizzy water. I bought half a dozen bottles. I think it was a week before last, and somebody else drank all 6 of them before I could get to them. But I'm not going to name names, am I, Joe?
No.
If it wasn't me, hey. So anyway, the topic.
You ate my potatoes.
Oh yeah, sorry, we're equal there.
Yeah, it's quits. Six
Quits.
potatoes for 6 bottles of water.
Yeah, we're quits.
Okay.
It came up in one of the shares this morning as we were going around in image therapy. A young lady, really nice young lady, quite a new young lady, and she wasn't 100% happy with the minimal weight loss that she'd had, which often happens to all of us, doesn't it? And we were talking, share what you've been doing, and the rest of the group will come in and offer help from experience. And she said, well, my food's been this, and this, and I'm drinking over 3 litres of water a day. And then my sins have been this, and I'm drinking over 3 litres of water a day. And what basically came out of the conversation, and no criticism to the young lady, is you cannot drink water and expect it to magically flush the food out your system and make you lose weight, because you don't actually lose weight through your wee. It doesn't work like that. So it's not like this magic, if I eat so-and-so, I'm going to wash it right through me. In the book, I have heard some people say when they do this, 3 things Slimming World don't tell you, that Slimming World don't tell you about how much to drink. Well, they actually do, and it's in the book, 6 to 8 glasses a day. So I was thinking to myself, if a glass was a half-pint glass, which is kind of 10 fluid ounces, if you can visualise that, or half a pint of beer, if you can visualise that, or a little shandy or something. So if a glass measures that much, and you had 6 of those a day, which is Slimming World's recommendation, 6 to 8 a day. 6 half-pint glasses a day is 1.7 litres. 8 half-pint glasses a day is 2.27 litres. Why do we push ourselves to be drinking 3.5, 4 litres a day? It just seems so unnecessary.
If you need it, and it's a good thing to stay hydrated if you're exercising or...
Yeah, some people do need it, Joe. You would need it because you do a lot of exercise. But for your average sedentary lady, I'm talking about your average sedentary Slimming World member.
Yeah, but it's a good
idea
idea to stay hydrated though. But yeah, it's not a magic wand, is it?
Yeah, we're not going to argue about this. It is a good idea to stay hydrated, but Slimming World say 6 to 8 glasses a day. They say that for a reason, I think. And then, people in groups saying, well, I exercise a lot and I then have to drink a lot. why have I gained ½ pound this week? Well, it could be that when you exercise a lot, your muscles then try to protect themselves with a layer of water, and that's in your system, and that's going to weigh something. So it's okay drinking 3 to 4 litres a day, but don't expect it to all then magically come out of your system by the time you get weighed, because if you keep putting it in, some of it stays in and it can weigh heavy. So there was quite a discussion this morning about how much do we need to drink. Well, what I say, Joe says to me, you've got a plan, stick to it. Slimming World say 6 to 8 drinks a day, 6 to 8 glasses a day. And as I say, that works out if you have ½ pint glasses at between 1.7 and 2.25 litres a day. And most people you do hear say, I hear, a lot of people who email me, a lot of people I talk to in texts and on the phone and at group, and friends who are doing this plan will say to me, I don't drink enough, I don't drink enough. Well, if you're drinking 6 to 8 drinks a day, you do drink enough. Don't beat yourself up over it, because it will not flush the fat out of you. It doesn't work like that. So I think I'm all right, because I must be on 8 good cups of coffee a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on that. It's part of my plan. And if I'm going to be having a litre of my milk for 2.5 healthy extra A's, all the better. Bit of a bits and pieces vlog today. I was watching a really interesting video by Tess SW, and she did say if anybody else wants to talk about this on a video, she'd be interested to hear what we have to say. The thing that Tess was talking about, which really kind of got me excited, was using some of our sins to cover fat in meats. I'm a great believer in this. I'm not saying go out and buy fatty bacon, go out and buy fatty pork chops, anything like that. And Tess wasn't saying that either. She was saying occasionally she does this. But sometimes I think a certain cut of meat needs a bit of fat. So if I was going to have a sirloin steak, I wouldn't cut the fat off a sirloin steak, I'd sin it. If I was going to have lamb, now we would buy the extra trimmed lamb steaks in Waitrose, but for 2 of those you can be looking at 10 quid. It's a lot of money. But if I bought, say, some lamb leg steaks with a little bit of fat on, personally I wouldn't cut that fat off, I'd sin it. If I wanted some streaky bacon, can't cut the fat off streaky bacon, it's impossible because the fat runs through it. I'd sin it because I like fat. Now Joe is the original Jack Sprat. He wouldn't eat anything, even if you cut the fat off it, if he saw that it had fat on it. You just don't like fat, do you?
No, not at all. No.
So I'd be like the sort of person, if I wasn't doing
I don't like oily things, I don't like greasy things, I don't like the fat on meat either.
No. I'm the sort of person, if I wasn't doing Slimming World, who would eat, neck of lamb and belly pork and nice fatty sausages and things like that. Joe, even if I bought pork steaks, shall we say, that had a bit of fat on the edge, if he sees them with that fat on, no, he would, even if he cut it off, he wouldn't eat it. So he's grown up on lean meat, so we do buy leaner cuts of meat, but just every so often you fancy something tasty. And I think that there are some cuts of meat that need some fat. The example Tess was giving, and it's worth going over and watching her video, you'd find it easily enough, because she actually has it in the heading about fat and meat. The example she was giving was using a higher fat percentage in mince because she was making a chilli, and sometimes that extra fat just gives so much extra flavour. And I agree with her wholeheartedly, because if I buy Aldi's or Asda or Tesco's 5% beef mince, I don't like it. I don't like the texture of it. We buy, I think theirs are probably under 5%. We buy the 5% beef mince from Sainsbury's, which is £4.75. It's a wee bit more expensive, but you can sometimes pick it up on Whoops. That has so much more flavour, doesn't it, Joe?
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
But it's not greasy, is it?
No.
It's just got almost like a proper beef flavour.
Yeah, it really tastes beefy.
Well,
it's
yeah,
kind
it
of
really
whereas like some other beefs can taste a bit like cardboardy.
Some of the very, very low fat beef minces to me don't taste of anything. And I don't want to have to be putting a couple of beef OXO cubes in my mince to make it taste like beef. I want it to taste like beef when I cook it.
Yeah.
Because I don't tend to use stock cubes if I'm making a bolognese and things like that. There should be enough taste in the mince.
If you spend the money on good food, though, it doesn't make you resent following the plan.
Well, this is our theory, and this is what we do, and this is what works for us, and it probably wouldn't work for everybody. If you buy the best that your budget will allow you to have, and I mean, I don't. Joe eats meat every day. I don't eat meat every day.
Don't you?
No.
Oh yeah, not every day. No,
No,
sometimes you do veggie.
Yeah, sometimes I do vegetarian. And I don't miss meat. And I would rather spend a little bit more on a better cut of meat and have it 3 times a week than have meat that I can't tell whether it's actually beef or pork or whatever it's supposed to be, and have it every day. So I think there's a lot of value in the video that Tess made, because it does make us think about it differently. And also the crucial part about having some fat in your food, for me, is the filling power. I eat a lot less of it and I'm far more filled up by it. The same with my yoghurt. I only eat full fat yoghurt now because I'd rather have a small full fat Yeo Valley plain yoghurt for 2 sins and actually get to the end of it and think, phew, that was good, than have 2 or 3 Muller Lights and just think that hasn't touched the sides. Because for me they don't. Now I'm not talking about anybody else. What everybody else chooses to eat is not going to affect my plan. And what I choose to eat won't affect your plan. And I know we all have different budgets and we all have different tastes in food. But I'm just sharing here what works for me. I do buy bacon medallions. I don't buy bacon and then cut the fat off. Because for me, that would be too hard. If I bought decent back bacon with the fat on, I want to eat it with the fat on, then I sim it. But if I want bacon and I want it to be free, then I buy bacon medallions from Sainsbury's. Because I just, well, the oldie ones are quite nice, but I like the Sainsbury's ones.
I think the important message is, don't feel like you have to eat food that you don't like.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Because the plan says 5% beef mince is free, don't fear eating 10 to 12% and simming it. You can have it, you can use your sins in that way. So that really
22 minutes one, sorry.
Yeah, that really spoke to me in Tessa's video. Finally, I was tagged by the lovely Rebecca Shaw to do the breakfast tag that's going around at the moment, and spoke to Joe about it, and we decided there's really little point in me doing it because I have the same breakfast every day. And I have the same breakfast every day because I love it, and I'll change it when I'm bored with it, or when I don't enjoy it anymore, or when it doesn't fill me up anymore.
Say what it is for people who don't know though.
Right, I have a full tub of quark, and the only quark I currently enjoy is the Asda one, which is 75p. I used to like Tesco's, but I've gone off theirs. It's not stiff enough.
It's the 250 gram, not the great big 500.
Oh yeah, the 250 gram pot. I mix that with a 120 gram pot of Yeo Valley organic plain yoghurt, 15 grams, of coconut flour.
Yep.
And then a heaped teaspoon of cinnamon. And it thickens up in your dish, and it's, well, to me, it's paradise. You might taste it and you might think, what is she raving about? Or is she just raving as usual? It's my idea of delicious.
And then you have some fresh coconut chunks.
And then I have 20 grams of fresh coconut to make up a healthy extra B choice. So that's 2 sins and a healthy extra B choice. I absolutely love it. I can eat that at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm still full at 1. Because quite often we have long mornings and we don't get back to have our lunch until maybe 2 p.m. So I'm not going to risk being hungry and I don't snack. I don't have any speed food with it. I'm sure you won't.
That's okay, because it's a B choice.
Thank you, Jeff. I thought you might remember that.
Yeah.
It's a B choice and you don't have to have speed food.
I know how to work this plan.
In fact, I'm going to go so far as what Naomi said in group this morning that I found was really interesting. It says, eat speed food where possible. She had a lady in one of her first groups 7 years ago who used to say, I force salad down every morning with my cooked breakfast. Force salad down. And Naomi went, you have bacon and eggs. She went, oh yeah, bacon, eggs, mushrooms, tomatoes, the works. A Slimming World breakfast. And I forced salad down with it for speed. And Naomi said, I'm glad you've said that. Stop it. Why on earth would you want to have salad with a cooked breakfast? And the lady said, because you have to have speed. And Naomi said, no, It says where possible.
I'm sorry, Mum, you've got a lot on the time.
Yeah, going to have to go. Running out of time on the camera. But forgive me if I've waffled a bit today. It does feel a bit disjointed, but I am knackered. I'm so tired. I'm going to move on. I'm going to have a good week. I'm going to stick to plan 100%. I'm going to up to 3 healthy extra A's and see where it takes me. But I'm going to trust in this plan and I'm going to continue to enjoy it.
Stick to plan, stay to group.
That's me. We'll see you next week when we're both less tired. Have a great week. Bye for now. Cheers.